Today, there's bipartisan backlash up on Capitol Hill following some controversial cabinet picks by President-elect Donald Trump, including Democrat-turned-Trump supporter Tulsi Gabbard as his Director of National Intelligence. Joining me now, Washington Democratic Congressman Adam Smith. He's the ranking member of the House Armed Services Committee. Congressman, your response to the Tulsi Gabbard pick, what do you think?
Well, to all the different picks here, and I have a specific response on that, but I listened to your previous segment. Yeah. The only thing that surprises me about this is the surprise. Donald Trump has told us for 4 years just exactly what he was going to do. And it really comes down to two things. Number one, he was going to set fire to every aspect of the government. He didn't believe in any of it. What we've built in this country over almost 250 years now, top to bottom, he didn't care about any of it. He was going to tear it all down as quickly and as effectively as he possibly could, number one. And number two, he was going to rebuild it so that it served his ego and his interests, period, full stop. He told us that for like 4 years, and now everyone's like, oh my God, Matt Gaetz and Tulsi Gabbard and Peter Hicks, who are these people? What is he thinking? He told you what he was thinking. He does not believe in the institutions of this country. He doesn't believe that we've done anything worthwhile, apparently, during the course of those 250 years. He wants to rip it all apart so that it can serve his ego. Now, if you want to get into a parallel universe conversation where you and I are talking pre-Trump and we're having an analysis of, well, gosh, what would you look for in a DNI? Sure, we can point out that Tulsi Gabbard has no intelligence experience whatsoever, but that's not the point, okay? She isn't being put in this job to do the job or to be good at it. She's being put there to serve Donald Trump's interest, which again, sorry, I will emphasize, he told us he was going to do.
And so why do people vote for it then?
Well, I'm very troubled by that. I don't know. I mean, I think part of the problem, and one of my complaints in September and October, there were a lot of people certainly believe, well, a lot of people are upset about where our country is going, and I get that. And they were looking for whatever the biggest different thing they could find, and that was Trump, okay? But there were a lot of other people who saw everything that I just said and still spent September and October picking nits with Kamala Harris. Is Kamala Harris the perfect candidate? No. It's like, well, okay, Donald Trump's doing all this stuff. But I'm just not 100% sure on all of the details of Kamala Harris's economic plan. I think at the end of the day, despite what Trump did, too many people just didn't really understand the stakes. And it's not that I didn't have my problems with Kamala Harris, sure. But I understood that life is a choice. And this was the choice that we had. And in my humble opinion, we made the wrong one.
Well, and Congressman, choices, elections, they come with consequences. Now Tulsi Gabbard has been tapped to be the Director of National Intelligence, and she has been accused of being soft on Bashar al-Assad, the dictator in Syria. She has been accused of being soft on Vladimir Putin. She was repeating Kremlin talking points after Russia invaded Ukraine. What does that mean to have somebody like Tulsi Gabbard running the nation's intelligence community?
Look, it's incredibly dangerous. Let me just say, I served with Tulsi. I was chairman of the Armed Services Committee when she served on the Armed Services Committee. I still text with her from time to time. She's a perfectly nice person, but two things. One, as I said, no experience, and two, all the stuff that you just said. It is kind of troubling the degree to which she seems to have sympathy for people who should be U.S. adversaries, and now she's in charge of all of our secrets. It is a deeply, deeply troubling situation.
And Trump's pick for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth of Fox has said women should not serve in combat roles. He has said that the chairman of the Joint Chiefs should be fired for being, quote, too woke. You're the ranking member of the Armed Services Committee. What's your response to all that?
Yeah, I'll go with deeply troubling again. And you've seen the quote where he explains that, what Putin's doing in Ukraine, and I swore on MSNBC last night just quoting him, so I won't say exactly what he said, but he said, hey, Putin's just looking to get his stuff back. Ukraine used to be his, and he's just looking to get it back. Okay? So, yeah, it's all troubling from a policy perspective. If you assume that the United States government is a serious entity that is trying to do good in the world, then, yeah, this is going to be a problematic pick. But again, reference my rant from the start of this, that's not why Trump picked him. Trump didn't pick him to be a good Secretary of Defense. Trump picked him to make sure that he does Trump's bidding. And it's really, really dangerous given where we're at in the world right now and given the need just to run the Defense Department. I mean, just to make those decisions on personnel, on procurement, meeting with allies, to have no experience in those areas is incredibly dangerous.
And Congressman, I mean, is there anything Democrats up on Capitol Hill can do about this? I know you can't vote on the Senate confirmation process, but can House Democrats do anything to stop this Trump agenda from steamrolling all of you?
Well, there's a couple things we can do, and certainly we can fight back. But the other thing, and I don't have time, I know I've gone over here, the Democratic Party also needs to sort of fix itself. Our brand has been deeply damaged. It was deeply damaged by things like defund the police and abolish ICE, and we ought to have open borders. There's a movement in my community in the Seattle-King County area to abolish the criminal justice system. We need to let the American people know that we as Democrats, we're not for that. We're against it. We have a branding problem. To answer your earlier question of how Trump won in spite of all of this, people just look at the Democratic Party and they see something that is out of touch with the majority of people. A big part of that is because of some of these extreme left policies that while people like Kamala Harris didn't necessarily embrace, they didn't make it clear to the American people that they were going to stand up against them. That put us in this position. Now again, all of that pales in comparison to what Donald Trump is doing to our country. But we as Democrats can present a better alternative for the American people. It's the most important thing we have to do.
All right, Congressman Adam Smith, thanks very much for your time. Thanks for the candid comments. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Joe.
All right, still to come.